All right, so finding a comfortable seat. And if you know you sit one way every single time you sit down, maybe today you sit the other way, right? Or another way. So if sitting on the floor cross-legged is not your deal, no worries. Find whatever feels right to you. And then taking the heels of the hands to the upper thighs. It's a little press down, lean forward. Press down, lean forward. And especially if you haven't moved your body in a while, maybe this is very gentle, right? So taking a gentle approach. Often we have to kind of tune into what's happening internally to understand how things are. And then running the heels of the hands down the thighs. And this can be in any position you're in. And I'm finding we drove to Chelmsford, Massachusetts and back yesterday. So in the car for a long time, perhaps that was you as well, or some of you have been recovering from COVID or other ailments. So just being generous with your massage, I think is nice, right? Getting into the muscular tissue, feeling that situation, we'll call it. All right, from here, hands come to the side ribs. We're lifting ourselves up out of the bowl of the pelvis. And then, oh, a little turning from side to side. How does that feel? Hello, waistline. Hello, back body. Hello, internal organs. How are you? And then coming back to neutral, let's inhale the arms up in a wide V, reaching through all 10 fingers, lifting the chin, shoulder blades move towards each other across the back. Let's do a big inhalation here. And then as you exhale, floating the hands down, you can decide palm up, palm down. If it got very cold where you are, like it did here, you might choose to do palm down, right? It's much warmer to have the palms of the hands facing the thighs. And then if you feel safe and comfortable to do so, go ahead and close the eyes. Going inside, right? An opportunity to check in with how we are, right? What's going on inside the body today? Do we need to address our seated position? I'm finding that I want to lean left and right like a metronome. Maybe your body would enjoy that as well, sort of pouring the weight into one hip and then pouring the weight into the other hip. And then finding both hip bones resting evenly, pressing down, tailbone descends. Feel how that starts to engage very subtly, very, very small amount here. The lower abdominal wall lifts up and back. And then we're lifting and spreading the collarbones, shoulder blades down the back, pressing the crown of the head into the sky, right? Imagine a sturdy hand there. You can press your head into that invisible hand, right? And if you want to get the experience, you can actually put your own hand on the top of your own head and push up into that hand, right? It can feel nice to do. Sometimes we do rest a block on the head to have that experience of being contained, right? Which can be very good, especially, again, this season is, it's kind of ironic. Well, I don't know if irony is the right word, but it's kind of interesting that we have this holiday season, whatever your faith is, whatever your situation is, even if you don't participate, the rest of the world is. So things are a little crazy, but it's also kind of the most Vata time of the year, right? So there's all this air and ether swirling around, causing us to feel unstable. So anything we can do to stabilize ourselves from what's happening around us, from our own internal air and ether is useful. So see if you can find and feel that stability now. As you relax the shoulders, soften the throat, relax the jaw. You might even drop the bottom jaw away from the top jaw to create space in the mouth, letting the tongue rest in the floor of the mouth. The upper palate relaxes, the cheekbones relax. See if you could soften the bridge of the nose, the eyes in their sockets. And then spread the eyebrows apart from one another, smooth out the skin on the forehead, and relax the skin at the temples. And then soften the inner ears, right? We're dilating that channel. And can you find your next inhalation, your next exhalation? And then can you let everything else drop away? And just be there with the breath. Just be there with the breath. Inhaling, exhaling, that's your only job. Even if that's all you did all class was to just sit there and breathe, that would be a worthwhile use of your time. I think anyway. Can you feel the entire experience of the breath? Pull it down into your belly, your rib cage, your collarbones. Really finding that spaciousness that can be created here. Right? We need space for digestion. And then taking the hands together in front of the heart, palm against palm, fingers elongated, lift the sternum into the base of the thumbs, broadening the collarbones. Creating that space now for sound. And invite you to chant the sound of Om with me 3 times, and then we'll invocate. Go ahead, exhale fully, let go of all the breath you currently have, and then inhale fully to begin. Om Sahana Bhavatu, Sahanao Bhunaktu, Saha Viryam Karavavahai, Tejasvina Vaditamastu, Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Take a deep breath. And then as you exhale, let the hands come to the lap. Let the chin dip slightly. Shoulder blades down the back. Just take stock again. Always, always interested in how is it now? And starting to flutter the eyelids open, taking in form and space and color. And then lifting the chin so that it's parallel to the floor. We'll go in with a little bit of twisting right off the bat. So approach this with whatever energy you need. So we're going to inhale the arms up towards the sky, lift the gaze if you can. Then as you exhale, you turn to the right. Then we're inhaling to come back to center, lifting the arms, maybe the gaze, exhaling, going to the left. So now going back and forth, this is your breath pace. You can do it from any seated position, whether you're in a chair or on the floor, cross-legged or not, kneeling, doesn't matter. Just going back and forth. Inhaling to lift, exhaling to turn, right? Just trying to find our rhythm here. Letting the breath carry us, slow and steady, right? We're letting the breath be what takes us. We're not kind of forcing the breath into the shapes we're making, but rather allowing the breath to direct our shapes. Nice. Gorgeous. Next time you land on the right side, pause. Right fingertips behind. Left hand sneaks over that right knee. We're descending the tailbone and lifting through the crown of the head. The navel moves back. Use the abdominal wall to help support your height, but don't lose the tailbone. It needs to find that connection to the center of the earth. Each inhale, can you get a little bit longer? Each exhale, can you twist just a little bit more? You're seeing what is possible. And then keeping the torso turning to the right, take the chin up and over that left shoulder, looking down at the floor on the left-hand side, right? Little counter twist here. Nice. And then exhale, coming back to neutral. If you are seated cross-legged, you're going to switch the interlace of your legs. And then we're going back in with our inhaling to lift, exhaling to turn, inhaling to lift, exhaling to turn. Just seeing how is it now. We've stayed on one side. Don't worry, we're going to do the other side. It's just interesting to revisit rhythm after staying in the twist for a few breaths, right? Maybe you're finding there's a little more freedom. Maybe it's feeling very uneven, right? We're just curious here. We're seeing what's happened. Gorgeous. The next time you land on the left side, we pause. So here we are, second side, noticing similarities, differences. How is it? Tailbone heavy, crown of head reaching. Inhaling to lift, exhaling to turn, right? Use the abdominal wall. Don't harden, but firm, support, help yourself, right? Nice. Then keeping the torso turning to the left, we take the chin up and over that right shoulder, looking down at the floor on the right-hand side. Inhaling, exhaling. What is it like to breathe in this twisted position? Gorgeous. One more deep inhale, and exhale finds us returning. Helping the knees up now, extending the legs in front of us, ironing out. You're welcome to leave socks on here. It's still chilly. We're not needing the grip of the bare feet against sticky mat quite yet. So ironing the legs out. If a little forward bend comes, you go for it. Nice. And then as we so often do, let's take the hands behind the side, lift and spread the collarbones, and then point and flex the feet. Point and flex the feet. Soften the jaw. Nice. Gaze might be slightly lifted, especially if your mood has been not so light lately. Maybe you can lift the gaze to help lift the mood. Then coming to the center of the back of the heel, let's invert the foot. Outer edges forward, inner edges forward, swiveling on the back of the heel. Right? This is good work. Even if the body is tired, we can do these little actions in the ankles, the legs, the feet. And then coming back to neutral now, squeeze and release the toes. Squeeze and release the toes. Yeah. Nice. Beautiful. And then big toe up, four toes down, like you're going to go hitchhiking with your feet. Highly unlikely. Big toe forward, four toes back. That's the opposite direction. And then we're going back and forth. Don't hold the breath. That often happens here. Okay. From here, we're going to stay in Dandasana. I'd like you to grab a strap, so you might need to exit staff pose for a moment while you find your strap. And then I'm seated up on height. I've got a folded blanket underneath my hips. If having the legs extended felt problematic for any reason, you could absolutely take more height, or you could even do this in a chair with the legs extended. But we are going to lasso our feet. So taking the strap around the ball of the foot, you'll see my legs are hips distance apart. So I haven't narrowed my legs. They're hips distance apart, maybe even a little wider, giving space for the pelvis. Then for the moment, I'm holding the strap in both hands and I'm really looking at my feet, right? So I'm trying to make sure that the whole ball of the foot is pressed into the strap, because what often happens is that the outer foot presses more intensely than the inner foot. So I'm trying to balance that out. And then I'm and if I let go of the strap, you can see I'm kind of rotating my feet out to the side into the strap. Right? So there's a little bit of tension, a little bit of energy there. And you got to play around with how little feels appropriate to you, right? And again, you could do this in a chair with your legs extended, got your strap there, maybe you're at the very edge of the chair, but I'm pressing the outer feet into the strap. My tailbone is heavy. I'm lifting my sternum. My elbows are bent slightly out to the side. My collarbones are lifted, shoulder blades down the back, right? It's very stable. Again, that feeling of being contained here, right? Navel's moving back, gorgeous. Just for giggles, let's turn the head a little side to side, right? This can be a nice way to get rid of any tension in the shoulders or the neck. And then taking the head back to neutral, you're going to place both straps into the left hand. And I do something interesting with my index finger. I know it's kind of hard to see. I put my index finger in between the straps and then I hold the straps around it. So my index finger gives me a little extra support. It kind of works like a ripstop so that my hand feels like it's got a little extra support. It doesn't feel like it's going to cramp. Then I'm moving up through the spine. I'm inhaling the right arm up, up, up. Then as you exhale, you're turning to the right. The right arm comes down to shoulder height. You're bending the left elbow so you can stay right on your plumb line. Now I've run into a wall, so I've kind of bent my knuckles back so that I can kind of go for my full extension here. But then any amount, if it's possible, I'm turning the head to look at my thumb. Now, in some bodies, that's not going to be possible, so your head just ends up wherever it ends up. But ideally, you're trying to turn to look at your thumb, and you're turning from the belly, the rib cage, the collarbones. The head's kind of the little last bit of flourish that happens in this twist. Shoulder blades down the back, press through the backs of the legs, lift up through the crown of the head. Stay nice and tall here. Navel moves back. One more deep inhale. Full exhale, see if you could twist a little more. Then on your inhale, we come back to neutral. That right arm lifts straight up towards the sky. Then we exhale to switch sides. Now my right hand takes the strap. I've got my index finger in between the two sides. Beautiful. The navel's moving back. The tailbone's heavy. I'm lifting up through the crown of the head. Gorgeous. Then I inhale that left arm straight up. Gorgeous. Yes. Exhale, turn, bend the right elbow. Bring that left arm to shoulder height. Again, I've run into my wall. Maybe you're running into furniture. That's okay. You go as far as you can. Navel back, tailbone heavy, crown of head lifting. Inhale to get long. Exhale to turn. It's the navel, the rib cage, the collarbones that take us on this little bit of a journey. Yes. I'm still pressing my outer feet into the strap. I'm lifting through the crown of my head, inhaling, exhaling. I'm seeing what's possible. Gorgeous. Then on your next inhalation, we come back, we lift that arm straight towards the sky. Then we exhale to release. We're going to place the strap to the side, come underneath the knees, bringing the feet now into Baddha Konasana. It's going to feel nice, right? We had sort of pressure through the outer line of the leg. The outer hips were working. There was compaction there. Now I've got the soles of the feet together. We're going to move the spine like cat and cow. So I'll turn to the side so you can see. It's going to feel so nice after that twisting. We're inhaling to lift the chest, lift the chin. Then as you exhale, your hands might slide to your knees as you roll back, navel to spine, chin to chest. Inhaling, lifting and spreading, really opening up. Exhaling, navel back, chin to chest. You go back and forth at your breath pace, making it as big or as small as feels good to you. All right, for some folks, it feels good to make it really, really big. Others, it needs to be smaller, right? You're just discovering how is it for you. Going back and forth a few more times, really making it work for you. And then it'll be very satisfying to go forward here. So next time you inhale, lifting and spreading the collarbones, then on your exhale, you're hinging forward from the hips, coming down any amount. It would be nice if you had blocks nearby, but of course I forgot to tell you that. But you could rest your head on a stack of blocks. Let's see, I think in my body, a medium block and a tall block would be nice. Maybe you've got two tall blocks on top of each other, giving your head an opportunity to find a platform. And again, if this feels too far away, you could also use the edge of a chair. You could use the edge of your bed, whatever feels decent. Nice. Gorgeous. Couple more breaths here. And then rolling up from the base of the spine, hands come to the outer knees, help the knees up. Now we're extending the legs out into Upavishta Konasana, right? So we've worked through a couple different variations here. Now we've got the legs wide. It might not be the widest you've ever had. Just like we did in the beginning of class, though, I would like you to take the heels of the hands to the upper thighs and press down. Lean forward, right? I've still got height under my hips. Maybe you need more height, 2 blankets, a bolster. What do you need to feel comfortable here? And then again, just like the beginning of class, I can run the heels of the hands from the hip towards the shelf of the knee, working my way around the thigh, trying to elongate. Then reaching through the inner heels. Make sure you're on the center of the back of the heel. Right? It's kind of easy for the foot to try and roll backwards. There's even some folks where the foot tries to roll forwards, but we want to be right on the center of the heel. And then fingertips come behind beside. So I've got my fingertips on either side of my hips. I'm almost like I'm playing the piano and I'm pressing down to lengthen, reaching through the inner heels. It's almost like I'm trying to squeeze my shoulder blades together behind my back, providing a shelf for the heart to lift and spread. Nice. And then again, we'll go back to our twisting. So we're inhaling to lift, exhaling to turn right. Right hand comes behind, left hand comes in between the legs, and then we'll go with the breath. So inhaling to center, exhaling to left. Left hand comes behind, right hand comes in the center. So going back and forth. Your breath pace is your own. Take it as slow as you like. Maybe you turn to one side, pause for a full breath, and then go to the second side, right? You're respecting what your body needs here. Navel still moving back, back, back. Gorgeous. Then, next time you land on the left, so I've got the left hand behind me and the right hand in between the legs. I'm going to then take the back of my right hand to my inner right leg. So it's like a little slap of the back of the hand to the inner leg. And then I'm sliding that arm down the leg any amount. My left hand comes off the floor. That's okay. I'm headed towards my foot. Now I might not make it, and that's okay. And I think you have a strap nearby still. So if you can hold the foot, you hold the foot. If you cannot hold the foot, I'd like you to take a strap around the foot. Ideally, the situation is that everybody has their bent right elbow on the inside of their right leg so they can use it as leverage to turn. You can actually take your left hand now and excavate the right side of the abdomen, the right side of the rib cage, the right armpit. Beautiful. Then we're inhaling this left arm up and over the left ear. So now it's a big side stretch, creating space for the colon, creating space for the internal organs, and it's a twist. Right ribs moving forward, left ribs moving back. And then follow the line of your arm with your eyes. Find the left fingertips. Reaching, reaching. Gorgeous. Then inhaling to come up, exhaling to release. Pause and center. Notice how it is. Take a few breaths. Ooh, right? It's an experience. These big side bends, lots of energy there. Then inhaling the arms up, exhaling, turning to the right. Refresh the sharpness of the heels, reaching through the inner heels, spreading the toes. Now it's the back of the left hand that finds the inner left leg. We slide, slide, slide down. Can we find the foot? Is the elbow in contact with the inner leg? If no, we get our strap. We take it around the foot. We take as much slack as we need. We need to use that elbow to help leverage those left ribs forward, right ribs back. And then why not use the right hand to help turn the torso, right? Get that revolution happening in the body. And then inhale that right arm up and over the right ear. Really stretch, really lengthen. Don't lose the right foot. And then follow the length of the arm. Find the fingertips. Again, left ribs forward, right ribs back. Find your fullness. Gorgeous. Breathing here. Can you still press the back of that right leg down? Soften the jaw. Relax the eyes. Then inhale to come up. Exhale to release. Well done. Ha. Hands come underneath the knees. Bring the feet to the floor. And then let's go ahead. Go in. Hands come behind you. Take the knees side to side. It'll be so satisfying after what we've just did. Yes, little side to side, little swishy swash, as it were. Gorgeous. All right, let's prepare for our chest opener on blanket and blocks. Again, interested in creating space for the organs. Taking the trusty blanket, rolling it up from folded edge to fringe. Everyone knows now how much height they need, how little height they need. It just depends on your body, right? I think I've said to this class before, my father uses a tea towel rolled up, and that's enough for him. Any more than that is actually painful, which is really interesting. I've got my flat block here, the long edges of the block parallel to the long edges of the mat. I turn around, I get the bottom tip of my shoulder blades right on that blanket. Oh, arms out in the sides in a T shape. Take a moment here to sort yourself out. I think it's really interesting driving in a car for 4.5 hours yesterday, how much the upper back needs to go the other way, right? Because sitting in the car, I wasn't driving, but I was co-piloting and it was pouring rain and you just build all this tension there. And maybe you've been traveling, maybe you've been cooking, right? This pose so good for everything. Now, tune into your low back. If your low back is feeling cranky, irritated, aggravated, you're going to keep your knees bent. Walk your feet a little wider than the hips, turn the big toes towards each other, and let the knees fall into each other. If your low back is fine, one at a time, you can extend the legs onto the floor, reach through the inner heels, and roll the big toes towards each other, right? We're all getting a little internal rotation in the thighs, right? Inner thighs rolling either towards the floor or towards each other. Beautiful. Find the connection, pubic bone, belly button. This firms the lower abdominal wall. Then we're lifting the arms up towards the sky. Take opposite hand to opposite forearm. And then either let the forearms go clear over the crown of the head. The block is there to catch you. Or if that's not feeling right in my shoulders today, I can rest the forearms on the forehead. Ah, that's a nicer experience. And then chin's moving towards the chest. Beautiful. Right? You get to decide where the arms go, and that might even be to release the pose early. You don't have to wait for me to tell you to come out of something. If you're not comfortable, then that's up to you to determine and do something about it. Right? I think too often we'll wait for yoga teachers to kind of end our suffering in a pose, but it's up to you. You're the grown-up. Breathe into your full capacity here. Right? We have an opportunity to really get into the lung tissue. Right? Finding that fullness. Gorgeous. Navel's moving back and down. Pubic bone's moving towards belly button. Inner heels reaching. Then inhale, reach the arms behind you. Palms of the hands face each other. Can you remember which forearm was on top? And then exhaling, fold the arms again. Now the opposite forearm on top. Maybe you have to experiment to see which one feels weird. Nice. Can you tame those lower frontal ribs down and back? Can you still be direct in the inner heels, rolling the big toes towards each other? Or if your knees are bent, can you feel the full surface of both feet on the earth? Inhaling, exhaling. And then on your next exhalation, release the arms out and down into that T shape. Everybody bends the knees, walking the feet as wide as your yoga mat, and then start slow, knees and head in opposition, going a little back and forth, taking your time, just seeing what happens. Inhaling, exhaling. And then maybe it turns into other things. What does your body need here? Perhaps it feels good to walk up and down on that blanket that's behind you. I'm not really walking, but my upper back is sort of walking up and down. Yeah. And then rolling all the way to one side. Use the hand to help yourself up, help yourself out. Keep your block nearby. We're unrolling our blanket now and then folding it up to be head support. And we're going to come down into active rest. We'll do our Supta Padangusthasana series, another wonderful way to open up the body for digestion as well as other things. And then we'll do a lower abdominal series. So working on those supportive muscles for the low back. So come on down. Find your active rest, knees bent, feet flat on the floor. Take a moment. I really, really enjoy, and I wonder if you do too, picking up and replacing things on the floor once you get here, because it is a sticky mat. Like once you get down here, if the body isn't quite right, you can feel like, oh, my shoulder blade is stuck. I need to adjust it. All right, arms to the sides, back of the head heavy. Take the head from left to right, releasing tension from the base of the skull, the back of the neck. Nice. Beautiful. And then bringing the head back to neutral, back of the neck nice and long. On your next exhalation, draw that right knee into your chest. Either interlace the hands over the shin, or if the knee's feeling cranky, let the hands go between the thigh and the calf. It's completely up to you. But what I want you to do is to relax that hip entirely. So in my body, the knee ends up drifting off to the right. Indeed, my right elbow comes to the floor. That might not be your experience, but that's what's possible. So you can really let the knee go if it feels good to you. And then I like to turn my head an equal amount in opposition, trying to balance the sacrum and the cranium, right? That's the whole basis behind the sacral-cranial work. So we're doing that. Tailbone is long, shoulders relaxed, breathing here. Nice. And then inhaling to come back to neutral. Now here's where we need our block. Block comes to the outer right hip, flat on the floor. Then we take our strap. Now we're elongating that right leg up towards the sky. Today I've got the strap on the ball of the foot again, just like we did in our revolved staff pose. Parvrita Paschimottanasana. There, I got there. Shoulder blades down the back. Let's go ahead and extend that left leg onto the floor. It moves to the left just a smidge, giving yourself a little bit of extra room here. Inner left heel pressing down to the floor. Back of the right hip, nice and heavy. I don't care if you can put your toes in your mouth or on your forehead. That's not really what it's all about. But I do care, can you really yawn open the back of your right knee? Then both straps in one hand. Right hand has the straps. Left arm reaches out to the left. Palm of the hand faces down. We're inhaling to lengthen, exhaling to move. That right leg comes out and down to the right. Outer hip well supported by the block. Plug the upper right arm bone into the shoulder socket, or if you're working more gently today, you can slide your hand down the strap to bring the elbow to the floor. That gives you another point of support. Everyone directs the tailbone towards that inner left heel. You feel the outer right side of the body get a little bit longer. From the navel down, so we're already talking about lower abdominal here, you're going to move from left to right. That inner right thigh gets a little bit longer. From the belly button up, we're moving from right to left. You feel those outer left ribs come a little closer to the floor. The chin moves towards the chest, back of the neck, nice and long. And then we're just breathing here. Inhaling, exhaling. Nice. Gorgeous. One more deep inhale here. Then as you exhale, we're taking this right leg back up to neutral, switching hands. So now my left hand has the strap. I'm taking my right hand to help me adjust my right hip. So I've stuck my thumb in the hip crease. I'm rolling the outer hip away, pressing the back of the hip down. Then from here, I can take that right leg to the left any amount. I'm not letting the back of the right hip come off the floor. I know, it's tempting. Don't let it happen. Gorgeous. Nice. And inhaling the leg back up to neutral, spread the straps out between both hands. We're taking the leg a little towards us, a little away, little towards us, little away. Then exhale, release that leg to the floor. Both legs are down, elbows resting, hands on the lower frontal ribs. Just take 2 breaths for no reason. Just because we can. Beautiful. Then this is a great place to switch which side of the body your block is in. I'm moving it over to the left-hand side, bending both knees again. Right foot stays on the floor. Left knee comes in towards the chest, either interlacing the hands over the shin or folding the hands between the thigh and the calf. Relax the shoulders. Take the head a little side to side, and then relax that left hip. Letting the left knee drift off to the left if it wants to. It's okay if the right hip gets light. We're just seeing what happens. And then breathing here. Inhaling, exhaling. Gorgeous. Taking this leg back to neutral, tucking that hip tucking that block into the outer left hip. Strap goes over the ball of the left foot and we extend the leg up towards the sky. Watch out for peeling the back of the pelvis away from the floor. That's not what we're after. And then go ahead, extend that right leg onto the floor, moving it to the right just a little bit in order to create a little more stability in our pose. Shoulder blades down the back, chin moving towards the chest. Really open the back of that left leg. Then both straps into the left hand, right arm reaches out to the right, palm of the hand faces down. We're inhaling to lengthen, exhaling to move. Left leg goes out and down to the left. Beautiful. And you've got those options. You're either plugging the left upper arm into the shoulder socket or resting the left elbow on the floor. The lower abdomen moves from right to left. The inner left thigh gets long. Upper abdomen from left to right. Those outer right ribs come down towards the floor. Back of the neck is lengthened, chin moving towards chest, and then we're just breathing here. Nice inhale, complete exhale. And then on your next exhale, let's take this left leg back up to neutral, both straps into the right hand now. Left thumb sneaks into that hip crease. Really gives you an opportunity to move that outer hip away from the outer rib cage. Then you're planting the back of the hip firmly into the ground. And from there, then we take this left leg to the right any amount. It's a small action for most of us, right? We don't have to be aggressive here. And it's possible that you miss it, right? Which sounds sort of funny, but if we go too far too fast, we miss these little nuances that happen, right? Nice. Chin moving down, back of neck long. And then inhaling back to neutral. Spread those straps out between both arms. We're taking the leg a little towards us, a little away, little towards us, a little away. Then exhaling, releasing the leg from the strap, both legs on the floor, hands on the lower ribs. Again, just taking a few breaths. Beautiful. From here, we're going to put our strap to the side. We don't need it anymore. Then we're going to bend the knees and bring the feet to the floor. Now, we're working with the lower abdomen engagement. And so if you haven't done this in a while, you might feel good about having your fingertips in your lower belly. So right above your pubic bone, below your belly button, there's this little triangle. That's the kind of the transverse abdominis, lower abdominal wall. I want you to imagine that your feet are glued to the ground. So stuck foot abs is what it's called, right? So your feet are glued to the ground. You're going to draw your navel down towards your spine and think about flattening your lumbar into the earth, right? So there's this real firmness there, right? You can already start to feel things happening under your fingertips if they're there. Another way to work with this is to actually hold on to the sides of the mat and pull on the mat as if you were trying to pull the mat towards your feet. That will also help to elongate and lengthen the upper torso. Now, your feet are absolutely super glued to the mat. At no point are you actually going to lift your feet off the mat, but we're going to organize as if. So go ahead, take a deep inhalation here. Then as you exhale, it's like you're trying to pick your right foot off the floor. It doesn't actually move off the floor, but everything organizes as if that's what you're going to do. Then as you inhale, you put your right foot back down, so to speak. Then we do the second side, exhaling like you're trying to pick that left foot off the floor. It doesn't actually lift, but we're working as if. Then you're just going back and forth. So you inhale to switch sides, you exhale for the action, right? Externally, doesn't look like much is happening. Internally, you can absolutely feel how much you're working, right? You can use your fingers to kind of get a better idea of what's engaging, right? Can help you be a little more discerning on how you work. Relax the jaw. Keep the tailbone nice and long. And then if it's feeling like you've got it, you could try doing both feet together. So inhaling to lengthen, Exhaling now, it's like you're trying to pick both feet off the floor at the same time. They don't actually come up, but you're seeing how much you can work there. Inhaling to sort of release, kind of take a pause, and then exhale to go again. And part of this is trying not to cone the belly towards the sky, right? It's trying to keep all those muscles toned and tamed back and down. So doing a few more, either one leg at a time or both legs together. Gorgeous. All right, from here, do draw both knees all the way to the chest. Now that's going to feel very satisfying. Rolling a little side to side, spreading out the back body. We've got one more variation here on our backs. Requires us to take our block in between our upper thighs. And I've got it so that the long edge of the block is perpendicular to the long bones of my thighs, so that when I extend my legs, the smallest rectangle is pointed up towards the sky. And so I'm squeezing this block between my upper thighs. I'm reaching through my inner heels. The feet are flexed, and we're going to do 3 different variations. So first one is to hold on to the sides of the mat. So now everyone's holding on to the sides of the mat. You're pulling the mat towards the feet as if you're trying to shoot yourself across the floor in the direction of the crown of your head. Then I'm squeezing my block between my inner thighs, drawing the navel towards the spine, pubic bone towards belly button. Take a deep inhale here. Then as you exhale, levitate the legs just a mere 1/8 of an inch off the floor, right? It's so small. They're just barely coming off. You might even still feel the calf muscles touching. That's okay. You're just trying to make the bones light, navel back, pubic bone to belly button. Keep breathing, keep squeezing that block, reaching through the inner heels, and then exhale, release. Let go of the mat, take the head a little side to side. Deep inhalations, full exhalations. Then coming back to neutral, second attempt, you can either keep holding on to the yoga mat, or you can plant your hands on the ground on either side of your hips. I've got the palms of the hands pressing right where the hands were a minute ago, and I'm really being firm with the arms. It's going to help me here in a second. And then squeeze the block between the inner thighs, reach through the inner heels. Navel drifts back towards the back body. Inhale to lengthen the back of the neck. Then as you exhale, pubic bone to belly button. Use that action to help levitate the legs. Don't lift them any higher than 1/4 of an inch, right? The higher you lift them, then you start working different abdominal muscles. Keep squeezing the block, pressing the palms of the hands. Navel back, navel back. Exhale, release. Beautiful. Take the head side to side. Now, if you have your second block somewhere nearby, you can use it for this, or you can just pretend you have a block between your hands. So the other 2 variations are there. You can either pull on the sides of the mat, press the hands, or now taking the wide block between the palms of the hands, taking them overhead, any amount, maybe you're at an angle. And then squeezing the block between the inner thighs, reaching through the inner heels. Navel moves down towards the back body. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, navel to spine, pubic bone to belly button. Squeeze that block, levitate the legs. Beautiful. Navel back, navel back. Soften the jaw, keep breathing. And exhale to release. Put that block to the side, draw the knees into your chest. Take the block that was between your thighs, put it horizontally across the front of your shins, and then press your shins into the block, block into the shins. Yes, nice. That helps to spread the back body. And then we can ditch the block and rock a little side to side. And then hands on the knees, steering the knees around one direction, then the other. And then if you're protecting the body for any reason, you'll simply roll to one side. Others, the invitation is to take the hands to the backs of the thighs and do a little rock and roll. Rolling to the bottom tip of the shoulder blade, rolling up to balance on the tailbone, Just seeing what's possible. And then maybe you come up to balance in boat pose, Navasana. Shoulder blades down, sternum lifted, shins parallel to the floor, reaching the arms forward, lift the heart. Nice. And then exhale, taking the feet to the floor. So from here, sat on my sweater, got trapped. From here, I'm going to take a medium block between my knees. So I've got a medium block between my knees, and then I've got a wide block between my hands. I'm going to turn to face you so you kind of see what's happening from this angle, right? I'm on the backs of my heels, so my feet are flexed. I'm going to make a C curve of the spine, right? So I have to lean back a little bit. My navel's moving back, got my block. I'm going to inhale here. Then as you exhale, you're going to let the knees travel to the left as your hands move to the right. Then you inhale back through center, and you exhale as the knees travel to the right and the arms travel to the left. So we're just going back and forth. It's like we're kayaking, right? Knees going side to side, right? We're on the backs of our heels, so the knees stay tracking with the ankles. I've got that nice C curve, the navel moving back. I'm still lifting my sternum. Just seeing what's possible. Little twisting action, right? So this is working the upper abdominal wall, the obliques. Kind of concluding our twisting practice here. Inhale through center, exhale to the side. Let's do one more time, either side. Beautiful. And then coming to sit all the way up, putting our blocks off to one side, coming to our table pose, planting the hands well. So now let's stretch that all out. We did a lot of compaction. Now let's go in with our cat and cows. Inhaling, lifting the sternum, dropping the belly, lifting the tailbone. Maybe you wag the tail a little side to side. Nice. And exhaling, navel to spine, head and tailbone move towards the earth. Going back and forth at your breath pace. Beautiful. And then let's go in with our C curve. So coming to a neutral spine, reaching through the crown of the head, reaching through the tailbone. We inhale here, navel moves up and back. Then as we exhale, we wag the tailbone to the right, turn to look over the right shoulder. Inhale through center, exhale, second side. Going back and forth. Beautiful. And then something symmetrical. So either downward facing dog, tucking the toes under, lifting the hips up and back, or even puppy pose, where the hands are on the floor, knees are underneath the hips, and you're drawing the tailbone back. Right, so something symmetrical. Beautiful. And then wherever you are, child's pose, Balasana. So taking the hips to the heels, reaching the arms forward, taking the head to something, whether it's a block or the floor. Letting the belly soften here. Nice. Yes. And then rolling up from the base of the spine. Believe it or not, it's time for Shavasana. So let's set ourselves up. I've got a blanket for the back of my head. If I had a second blanket to pull over me, I could absolutely do that. If there are any last little actions the body's crying out for, go ahead and indulge. I think it would feel good to have blocks underneath the upper thighs today, right? Stretching the legs long and then releasing through the body. Cover up with a blanket, put other clothes on if you're feeling chilly, right? Wearing a hat isn't just for outside, so if your head feels cold, you can absolutely put a hat on. There's nothing wrong with that. And then opening the mouths wide, sticking the tongues out. Stretch the jaw, stretch the throat. Beautiful. And then taking the tongue back into the mouth, letting just the lips come back to touch. And then let go of yourself completely, let loose yourself completely. Let yourself rest here in stillness and silence, knowing now there's nothing to do. You worked well, my friends. Your digestive system is so grateful. Now, if you find yourself with the time and space to take a longer Shavasana, I highly recommend it, right? If you can just stay where you are, resting, quiet, still, it's a really, really lovely place to be. Others, it might be that you're time bound in some way, or you're just ready to move. And if that's you, I want you to start by deepening the breath. Deepening the breath, coming back to the surface of the body, maybe moving fingers, maybe moving toes, maybe moving ankles and wrists. And then as you feel ready, you can draw the knees into the chest, giving yourself a hug. Give yourself a little squeeze. And then gently rolling to your right side, pausing there for a moment. Feel into the qualities of the earth beneath you, that stability, that structure, that steadiness. And then using the hands to help you, you push yourself up to a seated position. Take your time, there's no rush. And then descending the tailbone, reaching through the crown of the head. Beautiful. Let's take the hands together in front of the heart, palm against palm, fingers elongated. Lift the sternum to the base of the thumbs, broaden the collarbones, and on an exhalation, let the chin move forward, let the chin move down. We're bowing to the seat of the soul. We're bowing to that divine inner wellspring of kindness, compassion, patience, and joy. The light in me is deeply honored by your light, grateful for your practice, and humbled by your presence. Thank you so much for being here. Namaste. Good job, everybody.